shit, man, I ain't that good. I ain't gonna make it.
I was the mayor of my city.
I think I invented the metal kick drum sound.
That's the most I've ever seen my father play drums.
Did that equate to record sales?
No.
How'd you guys break up? It's amazing how, the circles crossed over in all these bands and all these friends, and it wasn't a bunch of bullshit egos. Behind the scenes, man, it was all about fucking hanging out and having fun. And
dude, we were even fucking playing shows together. Channel Zero and Quietly Violent.
Yeah.
I mean,
some
that's
wild matchups too. I mean, this Facebook page deal and putting up all the flyers, I'm really starting to realize, fuck, we played a lot of shows, for one. And two, half the fucking people on this fucking thing, we played shows with them, man.
Right.
And imagine, we had Grimace open up for us once, which, what the fuck, man. We opened up for Mortal Rain at a VFW Hall show once.
yeah.
And it's like, all right, Kilroy.
That was matter of fact, that was the VFW up on fucking Signal or 31st.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Interesting matchup. But fuck, we had fun. We had a party with the guys afterwards, and it was a great time.
It's nothing fucking any different from anything else. Dude, Quietly Violent was when we reformed again, with Davey, Perry, myself, and Jeff. Dude, we were fucking playing with Troglodyte down at the Riot Room, and it was fucking funny because Chris recorded both our albums, and Chris, we'd be sitting there and I'd be like, man, let's do a show. And Chris would be like, fuck yeah. I go, we'll do this. We'll be the Liza Minnelli of the night. Here's fucking death metal. 100 and something beats per minute, man. I'm just like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And everybody would come down and they would fucking stand right in front of us, dude. All these death metal heads, man. It was cool.
Yeah.
Cool shit.
But just the musicians themselves, though, outside of the fans and stuff like that, there was a cool camaraderie amongst us all. Just hanging out, drinking beers, all that stuff. It was just a bunch of fucking dudes hanging out, having fun.
That's even the fucking women were too.
Yeah.
And that's what was cool, man, because we'll get to that part here in a bit, but down there in the bottoms, dude, you know what I'm talking about.
It was a Banshee warehouse down
dude,
there, man.
every
crazy fucking times.
Dude, I remember fucking going from one to the next. It was just down the line, man.
I think that a lot of us musicians, when we first start off, preteen or whatever early, years that you start off, that we're all somewhat, in a shell, and introverts more than extroverts. Mm-hmm. And it's that experience of having the balls to get the fuck up on stage and do something that other people are too scared to do. And then not worry about how you look or how you sound and just go with it and let yourself go.
Yeah.
That we really start breaking out of our shells.
Yeah.
And it changes us forever.
It does. And as a kid, I guess I was always struggling for that attention from my uncles because I wanted to be like their friend and like them so much. I always felt like I just never could do enough, and performing music gave me that. But I was never apprehensive about going. I never once had stage fright. I never got nervous. It was all business for me, and playing the songs and creating this magic between the 4 or 5 of us when we would go out there. And it never was like, oh, we got to do this or blah, blah, blah. It was, or we have to put on this great show because there's 3,000 people out there and they're all, if we fuck up, we're going to be screwed or whatever. It was more like, let's create this vibe. And once that vibe happens, there ain't no stopping it, man. There's nothing that can stop it. Dude, I'll tell you something a lot of people may not know about me is that the confidence that I gained from playing and the self-confidence and the keeping a cool level head in chaos, so to speak, propelled me into a career of politics for a while. I was the mayor of my city for about a year, and after I figured out the mayor only had a small amount of power, the power lied in the council, I went to city council and was elected for 4 terms. And in a community that is very conservative, that is, the average age is 63 years old. And here I am with full-on tattoos and hair down to my waist, and they're like, we want you to be our mayor, we want you to be our representative. I'm like, why? They're like, because you're calm, you're cool, you can speak, and you don't get shooken when these guys that were up there at the time were abusing the community. And I thought, man, I can't do this. And I thought, you know what? How in the hell do you get this kind of opportunity in life to be a mayor? And I went and met with the 2 old gentlemen that came to my house. And I told them, I said, you know what? You've been in World War II, you were in Vietnam. I've had a fucking easy life, man. I've played music all my life, and I've had a pretty fortunate. I cut hair too. And I said, I've had a pretty easy life. I said, it's the least I can do for you guys. Absolutely, I'll go do it. And I did it, and I ended up being pretty goddamn good at it.
Crazy.
Yeah. And now I credit that to the confidence that I gained from being a musician. That's the only thing I can. Because you'd never think I would be a man.
No. Or just to be able to speak without getting nervous with large groups of people, you know. Or you got up on stage and looked like we did and performed how we all did. You know, I mean, like I said, it takes somebody's.
Oh, I would watch guys on the council just crumble because these developers would come in with millions of dollars wanting to do these high rises in our community, which wouldn't fit. It would just destroy the hometown feel that we had. And they would crumble. And I would just let them have it. I wasn't intimidated by them son of a bitches. I let them have it, man. I let them go right at them, man.
Being a drummer, you can appreciate that. I don't necessarily know if this is on that one. It just sucked. One of the early shows of White Lize, we were playing some party, and we were in the second song, and I broke my bottom snare head.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Because then you're playing a timbale. Yeah,
the bottom snare head. I mean,
I broke.
Has an extra one of them with it. Right?
I broke a kick drum head.
Yeah.
I didn't have a spare kick drum head, and somewhere in Colorado, and I went in the DJ booth and got a record and duct taped it to the kick drum head, and turned because I always played the plastic side of the DW beater, turned it around to the felt side to get through the night, and it worked. And,
nothing worked for me, man.
But when I first
I
was first hitting it with the the plastic side, and I think I invented the metal kick drum sound because it sounded just like that.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned your first grade. You're not 6 years old. I too, at 6 years old, somehow knew I wanted to be a fucking rock and roll drummer.
Yeah.
And my dad played clarinet. My mom played the piano. There was no rock influence. My dad was big band, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, where the fuck does this come from? They made me play the piano for 2 years before they let me get a drum for the third year, which I did my time.
I started on drums. My dad taught me how to read rhythms a little bit, I bought a kit eventually, but I wasn't smart. I didn't put it all together.
It's a lot, all 4 fucking appendages.
Yeah, I didn't. If I'd have tried harder, I probably could have put it together, but I never did.
The thing is, I mean, at 6 years old, how the fuck do we know these things?
True.
Now, you had a musician in the family that, you know, had guitars and things like that.
Yeah.
Like for me, rock and roll drummer, where's rock and roll?
Yeah, my father was actually he was a kind of a jazz band drummer. He played his way through college, and he actually did that little circuit like Joplin, Springfield. I think even late in high school. I just hear stories. I've never seen my father really play the drums. Even as a kid, I tried to get him to play something for me. I did as an adult. I watched him sit down one time and just go, and that was it. That's the most I've ever seen my father play drums.
So he was a big influence on you for sure then.
Yeah, for sure.
Was he a big supporter of you being in music as well, I'd imagine?
Always, yeah. All my folks were, yeah, they were all in, you know, like I think my mom was disappointed when I quit playing cello, but you know, my mom was more this way. My dad was a little bit more this way, you know, like.
Not too many rock cellists out there.
No, she had dreams of me being a cellist for sure.
You know, some of us that were very lucky and fortunate to have the parents that supported us. I had that too. That story you don't hear too often. A lot of musicians, their parents are against them doing, being in a band and all that shit. So it's nice to hear the ones that had that support because it changed our lives.
And honestly, the bands, in both bands, the Fourth Century, we practiced at the bass player's parents' house, and they were super cool. But his dad was in a band too, so they had a really nice house and a big basement, and we were there. I mean, we practically lived. There was a couple summers where the band, that was just like the band house, and they were most of the summer they were out of town. Like we had the run of the house, and even when they were there, they didn't care. Like they just let us hang out there and jam. And Frank's parents were super supportive of Nasty. Like they helped us do our thing and get our feet underneath us and give us a little push.
Another funny moment, I don't know if it's not Spinal Tapish, but we were all playing a drug benefit. I can't remember which band I was in, but it was yellow shirts. And was out in Olathe at a car dealership or something like that. But it was some kind of drug benefit, like, against drugs, against alcohol kind of thing. And we're all fucking out there, like in plaster before. So and the TV interviewers were there and they were coming up to interview. We're all like going, yeah, hey, how you doing? I mean, none of us could fucking talk. But that was the funny things we did back then. I mean, it was just all over the place. And, we were just being kids, right?
Man, it was cool because when Paved and Skin was happening in the 90s with just Joey and Dusty, we worked at music stores, Dusty and I did. And it was weird because I'd always done like retail as a second job, and then I'd play in a band. And I met this guy, Adam Lavella, local legend to a lot of us. And he was like, you should do this stuff, sell gear. I went down to buy a mic or an effects unit or whatever. He's like, you'd be good at this. And I was like, really? Yeah, you'd be good, man. And then I started working across town. Dusty and I did. So not only do we have this band, but we had access to all this recording gear in PA. It was really, and that became a little lifestyle. You're the music store guy, and you sell the gear, and you knew the gear. That became huge, So I played in Paved and Skin, and I was the music store guy too. I met a lot of friends and other musicians through working at the store at Worldwide for a while. And then all of us went to Mars. I'm sure we remember Mars in the 90s. Adam and I went to work there. So there was great cult. Got Doug Kenworthy, Russ Gaines, Tyson Leslie, Paul Berrien. I mean, you name it. Everybody that did their respective instrument worked at the music store, and that was cool. We'd all come see each other's shows and stuff. So that was a big part of the 90s for us was, being in that world. Yeah.